Hello and welcome to this Idea Explainer video on transforming data management into information orchestration. The idea presented is developed by Patrick Van Kalken. In this second video of a series of 5, I'll explain the first phase of information orchestration. In case you missed the first video, I'd like to invite you to watch that video before this one. A link is provided in the description. Of course, any questions, suggestions, or comments are appreciated. Please let Patrick know what you think of this video in the comments or contact him directly. Contact details are shared at the end of the video. Before information orchestration commences, the scope needs to be defined. As there are probably numerous data sets out there in any company, it is wise to not trying to boil the ocean and take up all the data sets that require management all at once. Otherwise, you will probably set yourself up for failure. I would advise to focus on 2 streams. First of all, focus on the most critical master data first, which creates impact soonest. It is likely that these are data entities like customers, suppliers, and items. Secondly, facilitate critical business use cases where data is elementary for its success. It is recommended to have a pipeline organized for new data sets to be onboarded with a target timeline. The first phase of information orchestration can start with new data sets coming into scope. This first phase is setting the rules. During this phase, in collaboration with business functions, data quality rules are defined and agreed. This will be the essential first step, building a successful information orchestration organization. Before we can talk about setting the rules, we have to discuss data quality. Ask yourself, how many times have you heard the data quality is poor, or I cannot rely on the data, or something along those lines? If you're in a data role, it is highly likely that it's more than once or twice. However, unfortunately, in many cases, these are statements based on gut feel or just a single incident. Without an objective way of measurement, trust in data will remain subjective and often without any justified basis. This is usually not helpful, not to mention data often being a convenient scapegoat for something else going wrong. Therefore, the key question is, how can we make data quality measurable? Without actually measuring data quality, it will always remain a subjective discussion where it is likely that data quality is poor unless proven otherwise. There are 2 statements that must be true in order to have an agreed view on data quality. First of all, without agreed boundaries, nothing is wrong. Meaning that if there is no agreement on what data quality should look like, it can never be poor. Making an analogy with driving a car, without speed limits, you can never drive too fast. Although it is high risk to drive 250 kilometers per hour, it is not wrong. With putting speed limits in place, it becomes wrong. The same goes for data quality. What it means is that in order to measure quality, boundaries, or rules have to be agreed and instated. Secondly, there is an accountability for business representatives to provide data input of sufficient quality. For instance, a phone number is only as correct as it is provided by the business representative. You could even say, the data quality is perfect. It is exactly what business has entered into the system. Bottom line is, data quality can only be measured if data quality rules are agreed with the business owners and embedded in the data management process. Hence the first phase, setting the rules. In order to start with setting the rules, first, a clear understanding of what the data represents is a prerequisite. Acquiring all metadata, which means data about data, is fundamental for the success of setting the rules. This leads to the following actions to be covered as part of setting the rules. With identifying the data structure, all elements are identified. This includes all the tables and fields represented in the data set, including the technical information like field type and maximum number of characters. Also, the lineage, also known as the flow of data, is identified, meaning where the data originates, through which systems the data flows, and finally, where it is consumed. And lastly, where is the agreed golden record, which is crucial in case of any deltas between systems holding the same data set. This can be a technical exercise which can be automated to a large extent. Once the structure is clear for each relevant element, the business definition should be collected and registered. This can be a challenging activity as more often than expected, the definition is not clear or not harmonized across the organization. Reaching agreement on a definition might even lead to changes required within the business function in order to have a harmonized definition across the organization. This is a complex and often time-consuming side effect of setting the rules. Once the structure and the definitions are clear, the data quality rules can be identified. This is driven by business requirements and often requires deep knowledge of the business process and the consequences of having incorrect rules identified. One example is, can multiple suppliers have the same VAT code? To answer this question, pros and cons need to be taken into account and a business decision needs to be made, which leads to a data quality rule. When a rule is identified and clearly defined, the rule needs to be formally agreed. And lastly, once agreed, the rule can be documented. This could be storage in a data contract for future reference. It is recommended to use all of the collected information as a reference for any data consumer by making the metadata discoverable. This can be done through a data catalog, which holds all the gathered information, making any data element easier to find. Needless to say, these activities require a strong collaboration with business functions. In the end, they know best what the data represents and what the expected data quality should look like, including what level of quality can be expected. The business function should be accountable for its own data. With having this collaboration, sense of ownership and accountability is strengthened. This was the second video in a series of 5, where the first phase of information orchestration, setting the rules, is explained. In the next video, we'd like to go into the second phase of information orchestration. So, if you are interested, please stay connected and watch out for the next one. Again, any questions, suggestions, or comments are appreciated. Please let Patrick know what you think of this video in the comments or contact him directly through these contact details. Hope to see you in the next video. Bye.